जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, Text number 33. Please recite after me. Viduropi uddhavat shrutva Krishnasya paramatmanah क्रीडयोत्पातदेहस्य कर्मणि श्लाघितानि च। विदुरोऽपि उद्धवात् श्रुत्वा कृष्णस्य परमात्मनः क्रीडयोत्पातदेहस्य कर्माणि श्लाघितानि च। विदुरोऽपि उद्धवात् श्रुत्वा कृष्णस्य परमात्मनः क्रीडयोपातदेहस्य कर्माणि श्लाघितानि च। कृष्णस्य परमात्मनः Mataji's. Word to word. Viduraha, Vidur, Api, also. Uddhavat, from the source of Uddhava. Shrutva, having heard. Krishnasya, of Lord Krishna. Paramatmanaha, of the Super Soul. Kridaya, for the sake of pastimes in the mortal world. Upata, extraordinarily accepted. Dehasya, of the body. Karmani, transcendental activities. Shlaghitani, most glorious. Cha, also. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Vidura also heard from Uddhava about the appearance and disappearance of Lord Krishna, the super soul in the mortal world, which is a subject matter sought after with great perseverance by the great sages. Purport. The subject matter of the appearance and disappearance of the super soul Lord Sri Krishna is a mystery even for the great sages. The word Paramatmanaha is significant in this verse. An ordinary living being is generally called the Atma, but Lord Krishna is never an ordinary living being because he is Paramatma, the super soul. Yet his appearance as one of the human beings and his disappearance again from the mortal world are subject matters for the research workers who execute research work with great perseverance. Such subject matters are certainly of increasing interest because the researchers have to research out the transcendental abode of the Lord which he enters after finishing his pastimes in the mortal world. But even the great sages have no information that beyond the material sky is the spiritual sky where Sri Krishna eternally resides with his associates. Although at the same time he exhibits his pastimes in the mortal world in all the universes one after another. The fact is confirmed in Brahma Samhita 537, Golok eva nivasati akhilatma bhutaha. The Lord by his inconceivable potency resides in his eternal abode Golok. Yet at the same time as the super soul, he is present everywhere in both the spiritual and material skies by his multi-varieties of manifestation. Therefore, his appearance and disappearance are simultaneously going on, and no one can say definitely which of them is the beginning and which is the end. His eternal pastimes have no beginning or end, and one has to learn of them from the pure devotee only and not waste valuable time in so-called research work. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptaganchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcoming everyone to our daily Srimad Bhagavatam class. Seeking the blessings of all the Vaishnavas so that I can speak something for my purification and for the glorification of the Lord. So this verse that we are reading, 33rd verse, it is said that Vidura heard about the appearance and disappearance of the Lord. And this is a subject matter which is sought after by great sages with lot of perseverance, with lot of enthusiasm and eagerness. And this is the subject matter which Vidura heard from Uddhavji. The appearance of the Lord, his activities in this world, and his disappearance from this world. So Krishna says to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sau Arjuna. Someone who understands the appearance and activities of the Lord in this world doesn't have to take birth again. So therefore, this subject matter about the activities and appearance of the Lord is very, very important for us. But as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that there are multifarious ways in which the Lord appears in this world, which could be the avatars of the Lord, but also the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord, which also appears in this world to accept the service, accept the love of his devotees and reciprocate with his devotees. So today we will try to discuss something about the appearance and pastimes of one such deity of the Lord. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is the chapter 5th of the Madhya Leela, where you have this Brahmana from Orissa who goes to Sakshi Gopal, and he tells Sakshi Gopal that you come with me. Sakshi Gopal says, oh, I am a deity, I can't walk. He says, if you can talk, then you can also walk, right? So then Sakshi Gopal, being obliged out of love for his devotee, he talks and then he walks behind his devotee. A Vaishnava, a devotee says, that I am searching out for the Lord, but the Lord is following behind his devotee. So the Brahmana says to Sakshi Gopal, in fact, Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. Vipra lagi kara tumi akarya karan. That you are not Pratima. Don't befool me. Don't disguise yourself that, okay, you are just a Pratima. No, I know. It's just a disguise. You are actually the same Supreme Lord, Vrajendra Nandan. And you can do all your pastimes with me, which you have done as Gopal. You can manifest those Leelas. So yes, for us, the appearance of the Lord in this world especially is very, very meaningful and very, very important in the form of his Archa Vigraha. Because it is to these Archa Vigraha, these deities, that we can express our aspirations and our anguish, our longings and our struggles. Whatever is going on in our life, we can come in front of them and tell them, Krishna, this is going on in my life, right? And express our heart to them. So today we will be discussing the appearance and activities and disappearance of one such deity of the Lord, Srinathji or Gopal, right? Srinathji ki jai. So it is said that Vajranabh, the great grandson of Krishna, who was the son of Aniruddha. Aniruddha is son of Pradyumna, and Pradyumna is the son through Rukmini of Lord Shri Krishna. So Vajranabh established 16 deities in the Vraj Bhumi. So he installed 4 Devs, 2 Gopals, 2 Naths, and he established 4 Mahadevs and 4 Devis. So the 4 Mahadevs are Chakleshwar at Govardhan, Kameshwar at Kamevan, Bhuteshwar at Mathura, and Gopeshwar in Vrindavan. So these are the 4 Mahadevs he established. Then the 4 goddesses or Devis are Manasi Devi in Govardhan, Vrinda Devi in Kamevan, Patla Devi in Mathura, and Yog Maya Devi in Vrindavan. And now, who are these 4 Devs which he installed, established. So these 4 devs are Govinda Dev in Vrindavan, Hari Dev in Govardhan, then Baladev or Dauji in Baldev village, and Keshav Dev in Mathura. So these are the 4 devs, forms of Krishna he established. Then there are 2 Gopals. One is Madan Gopal and another is Sakshi Gopal. So he established these 2. And then there is 2 Naths. Who are the 2 Naths? One is Gopinath, another is Srinath. So he established these 16 deities, and 100 years after the Lord disappeared, it is described that he established these deities. He got these deities carved out based on the directions of Uttara, the only person who had seen Krishna face to face. So she gave directions, and then based on that, these deities were carved from a special imperishable stone called Braja. So these deities were established, and very gorgeous, very opulent worship with temples and thousands of pujaris was set up in all of Vrajbhumi by Vajranab. However, as time turns its tide, what happens is that from the 11th to the 16th century especially, there were a lot of attacks on Vrajbhumi, on the entire area by the Mohammedan rulers. They were ransacking this Vrajbhumi again and again. Why? Because there was such opulent worship going on here, and on the pretext of religious reasons, they were attacking, but actually the underlying reason was to loot wealth. It is described in the memoirs of Mathura, in the surveys. It is described that Muhammad Ghori, in his 17th invasion, which he did on Mathura in 1017 AD. So in this invasion that he did, he looted diamonds, emeralds, gold and silver worth like loading 100 camels. So he took 100 camels, and they were fully loaded with not just some paper currency. They were loaded with diamonds, rubies, emeralds, gold and silver. And Mahmud Ghaznavi, actually, through his own account, he says that it would have taken 200 years to build this temple and 100 million gold coins, 10 crore gold coins to build this temple, and we have destroyed it. Right? So this was how Mathura and Vrajbhumi was being ransacked. And then Sikandar Lodhi, this started from 11th to 16th century. And later on, Sikandar Lodhi, he was one of the last who attacked, after which Mahaprabhu appeared and the Goswamis re-established Vrindavan. So he attacked Mathura and demolished all the temples, because the devotees would again build the temples and these invaders would again come and destroy these temples, because it was a very easy target for them to loot the wealth from these temples. And over the period of these 500 years, the entire Vrajbhumi had become a woodland, a forest land. No one would stay there out of fear of these attacks and invasions. And just some wild animals and forest tribes would stay. So the Mohammedan rulers would use this whole land as their hunting grounds. They would call it Kumargha. Like hunting expeditions, they would come and kill the wild animals. Of course, Brahmaji says, Yatra Nisarga Durvairasa Hasan Nirmigadeya Mitrani va Ajitavasa. So in Vrindavan is a place where even the most fierce enemies, animals, they stay together peacefully, but somehow this is the way, the Lord orchestrated a pastime where this Vrajbhumi was covered completely by the curtain of Yogmaya. But then, while all of this tyranny was going on, the same tyranny was going on 5,000 years ago when Kamsa had actually terrorized everyone in Mathura and Vrajbhumi. Everyone was terrorized. But then Krishna was looking for a Devaki and Vasudev to make his appearance in this world. He was looking for a qualified devotee to call out to him for him to appear in this world. So similarly, in this all this period of 500 years of attacks and invasions, all of these different deities, these 16 deities we are talking of, they were covered, they were hidden by the pujaris who just fled for their life. They hid those deities in wells, in ponds, in bushes, wherever they could, and just fled for their lives, or some were killed. But then these deities, as we discussed, Pratima nahi, tumhi sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. So it's not Pratima. Krishna is able to do all his pastimes in the deity form, but he is waiting for the right Vasudev to come to manifest his pastimes. So let us see who this Vasudev is. This Vasudev who inaugurated the discovery of the entire Vraj and all the pastimes is Srila Madhavendra Puri. Today is the Disappearance Day of Srila Madhavendra Puri Pad. Srila Madhavendra Puri Pad ki jai. So, how exactly he inaugurated this uncovering of the curtain of Yogamaya, which had hidden the deities and the worship of the Lord from the eyes of commoners for centuries. The breathtaking account is mentioned in the pages of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So let's take a dive into this 4th chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, where this very, very fascinating account of Madhavendra Puri Pad is mentioned. And so it's described that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyas, he comes to Shantipur and he's with all the devotees and there's a festival, but then he, based on the desire of Sachi Mata, he decides to move to Jagannath Puri. And on his way to Jagannath Puri, he has taken along with him 4 associates. Nityanand Prabhu, Mukunda Dutt, Damodar Pandit and Jagdanand Pandit. So just these 5 are going together and touring the various places to reach to Jagannath Puri. And it is described that when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come to a holy place, he would stop by, take darshan of the deities, and one such place is Remuna. Remunate Gopinath Parama Mohan Bhakti Kari Kaila Prabhu Tana Darshan. When he came to Remuna with all of these 4 associates, he found the deities so enchanting. He was taking the darshan of the Lord and he started dancing. He offered obeisances. Tara pada padma nikat pranama karite, tara pushpa chuda padila prabhura mathete. So he offered obeisances, and the Lord, as we discussed, Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. He drops his flower crown on the head of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is prostrated in front of Gopinath in Remuna. And with the touch of this flower crown of Gopinath, Lord Chaitanya starts dancing in raptures of ecstasy. And then, after the Sankirtan is performed, Lord Chaitanya decides to have an overnight stay in Remuna. Why? Because he wants to taste a particular nectar called Amrit Keli. And he tells to all of his 4 associates, we are going to stay overnight here because in the night there are 16 pots of nectarian sweet rice, Amrit Keli, which are offered to their lordships, to Gopinath. And there is a big legend behind this sweet rice. Would you like to know? And all the 4 associates, yes, my lord, please tell us. So, when people have their role models, they want to know what do these role models or celebrities do behind the screens, or what is the dressing room conversations of the champions, right? So for us, the role models, for us, the champions are the Goswamis, the Acharyas, and the lordships, right? So what is it that in the seclusion that Lord Chaitanya is talking to Nityanand Prabhu? So what is the conversation happening between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda? Right? Sometimes we feel that if only we had recordings of, lecture recordings of Saraswati Thakur, if only we had lecture recordings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Well, we have recording of Lord Chaitanya talking to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. What a great fortune we have. And that's recorded by Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. What are they discussing? Lord tells Nityananda Prabhu and the other associates, Shirachora Gopinath Prasiddha Taranam. What is his name? Shirachora Gopinath. Bhakta Gana Kahe Prabhu Seita Akhyan. So he's telling this pastime, this story, that once there was a sannyasi, Madhavendra Puri. He had come to Vrajbhumi to perform parikrama of Giriraj Govardhan. Shaila parikrama kari Govinda kunde asi, snana kari vrikshatale ache sandhyaya vasi. So Madhavendra Puripad, he comes and sits at Govinda Kund and performs his sandhya there, chanting the holy names of the Lord. And he has a particular vritti called ayachita vritti. He doesn't beg for alms, he doesn't beg for food. If someone on their own accord comes and offers him, he will eat, otherwise he will stay, fasting. That was his way of lifestyle living. And then someone comes. Gopala balaka eka dugdha bhandalaya asiyage dhari kichu balila bhasiya. So a small, very fascinating boy, Gopal, a cowherd boy, comes and puts a pot of milk in front of Madhavendra Puri and says, Puri ei dugdhalaya kara tumi pan, magi ke ne nahi khao kiba kara dhyan. So Lord, this Gopal, this cowherd boy, is telling, what kind of meditation are you doing? I am just seeing you. You are just in your dhyan. You are not asking or begging for any alms. So what kind of sannyasi you are? You should go and beg for alms. So while he asks Madhavendra Puri this question, Madhavendra Puri reverts and asks him, by the way, who are you? And how did you know that I am fasting? So he says, Balak kahe gopami ei grame vasi, amara gramete ke han rahe upavasi. Oh, I am, a cowherd boy, and I stay in this village, and in this village there's a rule, no one can go fasting. And I make sure, right? So, while Madhavendra Puripad is performing his vows, his fulfilling his vows of renunciation, he's chanting the holy names, Krishna is observing. So sometimes we are, really wondering, is Krishna really hearing my prayers? Is he seeing the struggles I'm going through, or the sadhana I'm doing? Yes, Krishna is very keenly observing what's happening in our lives, how we are reaching out to Him, how we are serving Him, how we are chanting His holy names. So He is very conscious. The problem is we are not conscious of Him. So Krishna is completely and perfectly conscious of our each and every austerity, sadhana, struggle that we are going through. So then this Gopal says, so enough of it. Now you take this milk and have it. I am a busy person, so I can't, keep talking to you. Puri ei dugdalaya kara tumi pan, magi ke ne nahi khao kibak kara dhyan. So he's asking this, you just take this milk. And he says, Godahan karihte chahi shigra ami yaba, arabara asiyami ei bhandalaiba. So he says, you just drink this milk, I'll return soon after herding my cows, and I'll take this pot with me, right? So now Madhavendra Puri, he's completely fascinated and in a trance, looking at this beautiful, charming boy, Gopal. And he looks at this pot, and then he looks at the boy in front, and the boy has disappeared. He's no longer in front of his vision. He's wondering, where did he go? And then he says, okay, anyways, I have this pot, let me drink. So, while he drinks this milk, he gets such divine ecstasy of love of Godhead that entire night he cannot sleep. He's just helplessly chanting the holy names and remembering the Lord all through the night. But in the early morning, for a few moments, he dozes and goes to sleep. And in that sleep, he gets a dream. And in that dream, स्वप्ने देखे सई बालक सम्मुखे आसिया एक कुंज लया गेला हाथे ते धरिया. So in his dream, the same boy who gave that pot of milk, he grasps, holds his hand and pulls him, come, come, come with me, and takes him over to a kunja, a bush, and there he says, kunja dekhaye kahe ami ei kunje rai, shita vrishti vatagni te maha dukha pai. So he says, oh, look, see, I stay here in this kunja which has no shelter, and there is heat and storms and rains, and I have to suffer all of that. Well, as Govardhan Dhari, I lifted the Govardhan to protect everyone from the rains and storms, but now I am here amidst these bushes for hundreds of years, and no one is taking care of me. I am in this great scorching heat and the thunderstorms and the rains. So it's your responsibility to do something about it. He says, okay, what should I do? He says, Gramera loke ani ama kada kunja haite parvata upari laya rakhabhala mate. That bring all the village people and bring me on the top of the Govardhan hill. Ekamatha kari taha karah stapan bahushitala jale kara Shri Angamarjan. He says, establish a mutt for me. Right? His demands are increasing. Now just take me out, establish me on Govardhan hill, and then build a temple for me. So, they say, na, there are no free lunches in this world. So when Madhavendra Puri Pad got that pot of milk, something was going to come, right? So Krishna is saying, now you help me out. Many times we wonder that, why is Krishna not coming in our dreams? Krishna may come, but then are we prepared about what he asks of us? So nonetheless, Gopal, this boy, Krishna, Srinathji, he tells Madhavendra Puri, Bahudin tomar patha kari nirikshan, kabe asi madhava ama karibe sevan. So he's saying that I have been waiting for you for years and years. When will Madhav come and just remove me from this situation? Right? So he could have come in many people's dreams, but no, he wanted to choose the perfect candidate, the perfect Vasudev. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. That pure consciousness which can serve Krishna in purity. So when he found Madhavpuri, he reveals that Shri Gopala Nama Mora Govardhana Dhari Vrajera Sthapeta Ami Iha Adhikari. So I am Shri Gopal, my name is Shri Gopal, he's introducing himself. And you know what activities did I do? I lifted the Govardhan hill. And Vraje, Vajranabh, he established me. And I am the Adhikari, I am the authority in this place. So now it's up to you to, take me out of these bushes and establish my worship again. So now, what is the quality of devotional service? What is the quality of heart of Madhavendra Puri Pad? Is something which all of us on the eve of Gaur Purnima, it's worth meditating. That Lord Chaitanya doesn't reveal the dham, doesn't reveal the service to the Lordships just like that. There's a particular consciousness in which that the dham and the service is revealed. And Srila Madhavendra Puri Pad is in that perfect consciousness, which we'll see through that how the same theme repeats. The consciousness of the Vrajavasis 5,000 years ago is the same consciousness carried over by Srila Madhavendra Puri, and therefore Gopal chose Madhavendra Puri to reveal his leelas to him, right? So 5,000 years ago, what did Krishna do, Gopal do to the lives of the Vrajavasis, to Nanda, Yashoda and all the Vrajavasis? He turned their lives upside down. They were worshipping Indra, doing Indra Puja for prosperity, for rains, Parjanyad, Anna Sambhavat, so that there are rains and then there will be grains. So they were worshipping Indra, and then Krishna says, why are you worshipping Indra? Rains are even falling on the ocean. What is the point of worshipping Indra? Right? And he says, Gyatva gyatva cha karmani janoyam anutishthati. Vidusha karma siddhi syat. He says many people do many activities, but only very few realize and understand why they are doing what they are doing. So he asks them, do you really understand the philosophy behind your worship? Otherwise it is just a meaningless ritual. So Krishna asks them and challenges their stereotypes, challenges their assumptions, challenges their long-standing traditions. And to the credit of the Vrajavasis, they rose up to the challenge, which means they surrendered to Krishna and the path which Krishna showed them of worshipping Giriraj Govardhan, worshipping the cows and the Brahmanas, and ultimately pleasing Krishna. Right? So they stood up to the challenge which Krishna threw at them, but then it didn't end there. They used all the ingredients for worship of Indra. Krishna said, this very year, not that, next year or not that after Indra Puja. No, the same ingredients have to be used. So they surrendered. But then what happens after surrender? That Indra becomes upset. Now it must be Krishna, it should be Krishna's responsibility to take care of, the Devatas. But then no. Indra, with all of his fury and rage, he attacks all the Vrajavasis, and they are in great distress. And still, it is not that they question Krishna, how are you allowing this to happen to us? We surrendered to you, right? Yes, we followed your plan. So, no, they surrendered and again took shelter of Krishna. And when they again and again stood up to the challenge and surrendered to Krishna, then Krishna lifted the Govardhan and gave them shelter. Here, Srila Madhavendra Puri, he is going to face a lot of challenges. A lot of his stereotypes are going to be challenged. A lot of his traditions are going to be challenged, but he is going to rise to the occasion and meet the desires of Krishna. And that is how Krishna operates. If we see the pastimes of the Lord, we will see that whether it is Bali Maharaj, all the gopis, Krishna doesn't give you prema so easily. He tests you. So to Bali Maharaj, first of all, Krishna, just 3 steps of land, nothing more. He said, are you sure? Just 3 steps? Of course, only 3 steps. Then his guru, he said, oh, he will take away everything. He is Vishnu. But then Bali Maharaj, he overcame that dilemma of disobeying the guru to surrender to Krishna. Right? There was a challenge, a great challenge was there. And he overcame that. And then Krishna, he took away, Vamandev, he took away everything in his 2 steps. And the 3rd step said, first you promise, then you are unable to fulfill. Why do you promise in the first place? Right? And he chastised him, arrested him, bound him. And then Bali Maharaj, maybe, he can ask, what is this? I surrendered to you. Is this what you are giving to me? But then he surrendered, took shelter of Krishna. And then Krishna, he becomes a doorkeeper for Bali Maharaj. So here in the case of Madhavendra Puripad also, he faces a number of challenges. Krishna challenges his assumptions, his traditions. Based on what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, we will just see a few challenges which Madhavendra Puripad overcomes. So Lord Chaitanya says to Nityananda Prabhu and others, Parama Virakta Mani Sarvatra Udasin Gramyavarta Bhaye Dvitiya Sangahin. So he tells about the qualities of Madhavendra Puri. He is Parama Virakta, very renounced, Udasin, he is indifferent to material activities. And Gramyavarta Bhaye, he is fearful of any prajalpa, and therefore he stays alone. So he's coming from such a background, he's always alone, he's just chanting, he has nothing to do with the populace and, interacting with people in general. But then what Krishna does to his life, turns the table around, he changes everything in his life, right? From a Mani, it said that Mani Sarvatra Udasin, from a Mani he becomes a Milansar person, right? From a Bhajananandi he becomes a Goshtanandi. From being a solitary sage, he becomes a sociable person. Why? Because Krishna instructs him, go and tell all the Vrajavasis, all the people staying here, to come and rescue me. Right? So, So he accepts that. Now, we may be wondering, what is the big deal? We are anyways, because we all like to socialize and talk, just keep on discussing things. But someone who has been, for example, someone who is traveling in business class always, right? Or in the first class AC, if you ask them to travel in general, it's very difficult. So someone who is flying in the sky of transcendence, just in bhajan, to ask them to come to the material plane and interact with the material energy in terms of organizing things, managing things, getting people to do things, right? It requires a lot of surrender. Bahya sparsheshu atsaktatma vindati atmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. Someone who is experiencing that infinite bliss within, to leave that bliss and deal with all the problems and struggles of this world, right? And not that too for oneself, but for the pleasure of the Lord. That requires great amount of surrender. So then he follows through. He comes to the village after the dream breaks, and he rises and he comes to the village, and he calls out to people that Gramera Ishwar Tomar Govardhan Dhari. Did you know who is the Gram Devata of your village? It is Govardhan Dhari, Gopal. So he's in this kunja. Come, let us take him out. And then they actually go through this kunja and actually find that there's a deity out there. A blackish, beautiful, cowherd boy is hiding in those bushes, and they were amazed. And then they try to lift him, but they are unable to lift. And then there's another challenge. So Madhavendra Puri says, no, we need very strong men here. So he gets all the strong men. Maha balishta loka ekatra kariya parvata upari gela Puri Thakur laiya. So he takes the strong men. He gets the from being a moni, doesn't speak to people, to actually, okay, who can do it? Okay, you come. Like he's becoming Milansar, interacting with the people. Then the next thing is, once they take out Gopal from those bushes, now he has to be established on the Parvat, Govardhan Giriraj. So the second challenge is from being udasin to becoming udyami, from being indifferent to being industrious or enterprising. So what all he does, the Chaitanya Charitamrita describes. Patharera simhasane thakura vasaila bada ek pathar prashthe avalamba dila. So he first makes a simhasana made of huge stone, then another stone to support the deity, then shaya karaila, for making the deity sleep. He gets a brand new cot made, and then nice silken and velvet cloths to lay over as bedspreads, and then to cover the deity with a temporary shed, he gets a thatch hut stitched. So there are these kusha thatch huts. He covers all the sides and on the top so that he doesn't feel the heat, because he has been feeling the heat. And then he starts the Abhishek of the Lord. A detailed, elaborate description of the Abhishek. Panchagavya Panchamrite Snana Karaya Mahasnana Karaila Shata Ghata Diya. 900 pots of water were brought. You can imagine 900 pots in no time. It's the same day, morning, they took out Gopal, and immediately they are getting 900 pots, bringing water from Govind Kund, and with Panchagavya, Panchamrit, they are giving Abhishek, and then he's narrating to them, now bring these scented oils to do Abhishek with scented oils. Punha Taila Diya Kaila Shri Anga Chikkan, to make his body very, very shining. He offers these scented oils. Then Chandan, Tulasi, Pushpamala, Dhupa, Deepa, Bhog, Ityadi, he offers all of these, and then orchestrates everyone to do an Annakoot, because he has been hungry, he has not eaten for a long time. So let's do an Annakoot for him. And how he organizes and orchestrates from being udasin to being udyami, from being indifferent to enterprising, right? Dasha Vipra Anna Randhi Kare Kastupa Jana Pacha Randhe Vyanjanadi Nana Supa. So 10 people are engaged in making rice and chapatis. 5 strong men are engaged in making, fried items, vada and, vada, badi, etc. Then there are people who are making sweets and dadhi, dugdha, mattha, shikharini, payasam, many, many different types of delicacies they are making. Lord Chaitanya says, Eka dinera udyoga aiche mahotsav kaila. In one day, can you imagine all of this great Annakut? First of all, DT installation without any advertisement, right? Without any fundraising, flyers, without getting people to know in advance. In one day, everything has happened. From getting out the DT to installing the DT, creating a bedspread, creating the shilas and doing abhishek, doing annakut, everything has happened so enterprising and industrious. So devotee doesn't shy away from hard work and enterprising service if it is required in the service of the Lord. So then the third challenge is from being virakta to being vyavharik, from being renounced to being relevant and relatable to the people. So he actually doesn't just establish the service of Gopal, he creates a community around Gopal. So in the first two challenges, he did, human resource management, or we can say, and facility management and event management. All of that was done. Now he's creating a community. How is he creating? Puri Gosai Agya Dila Sakala Brahmane Abala Vridha Gramera Lokakaraha Bhojane. He says, all of you have been serving since morning. All of you sit down. He doesn't talk to people. But today, he is getting all of them sit down and personally orchestrating that all of them are served nice prasad of the Annakut. Sakala Brahmane Puri Vaishnava Karila Sei Seva Madhe Sabaniyo Jila. He made a relationship with all of these Brahmanas, made them Vaishnavas, and understood their strengths and talent, and then he engaged them in a suitable service for Gopal. Right? He started a whole system of deity worship from nowhere. Right? And then what happens? The neighboring villages came to know that, oh, such a festival is happening. Why are we bereft? So one after village, every village would come and fight with Madhavpuri that, oh, we also want to serve your Gopal. We also want. So then he would schedule, scheduling. He's scheduling that this village come on Monday, this village come on Tuesday, this on Wednesday. He's making a schedule so that all the hundreds of villages, they get chance to serve Gopal Annakut. And then not only that, now outside like the villages, now this thing reaches Mathura. And what happens? Mathura ra loka sab bada dhani, very rich people. Bhakti kari nana dravya bheta de ani. So they bring lot of wealth. Swarna ropya yas vastragandha bhaksha upahar asankhya aishe nitya badila bhandar. So he accepts all of that. So from being renounced to being relatable and resourceful. So he is organizing all of this for the pleasure of Gopal. And then two Brahmanas come from Gauda Desh, from Bengal, and he engages them for being the head pujaris of Srinathji. And like this, he has done all of this service, organized and orchestrated a wonderful, community of devotees centered around Gopalji, right? By becoming from a Moni, he has become a Milansar. From being an Udasin, he has become an Udyami. From being a renounced person, he has Virakta to Vyavaharik. And then the fourth thing is, from being a Parivrajikacharya, he has become a Kshetra Sannyasi. From being a traveling mendicant, he has become a temple resident. Right? Can you see the amount of paradigm shifts that have happened in his life? He just keeps traveling. He doesn't stay more than a day in a place. But now, as Lord Chaitanya describes, Ei mata vatsara dui karila sevan ekadena puri gosai dekhila swapan. Ei mata, in this way, dui vatsara, for 2 years, he supervised all of these services going perfectly. So quality management, operations management. So a renunciant doing all of this. So he has completely broken the stereotypes of what a renunciant is supposed to do, right? Because a Vrajvasi means someone who is ready to change the movement of their life to follow the will of Krishna. So a mendicant, a Parivrajkacharya is someone like a free bird who doesn't have any obligation. Now he has obligation. Arey, who is doing the Mangal Arti? Who is doing the Rajbhog Arti? Where is the Pujari for the Sandhya Arti? Right? Who is waking up the Lord? So he has gotten into all of those details for the pleasure of the Lord, from being a traveling mendicant to a temple resident. Now the challenge 5 comes. Krishna doesn't stop there. Krishna is very happy with his quality of service, but he wants to have more variety of service. So if we feel that, okay, now we have done enough, we are serving the deities nicely, the Lord is happy with all of us. No, Krishna says, no, increase the variety now. So the Lord again comes in his dream. And Gopala kahe Puri amar tapa nahi aaye. You have been serving me for 2 years, but still that, that burning sensation of being in those bushes for so many centuries has not gone. Malaya ja chandan lepa tabe se judaye. So you bring the chandan from Malaya hills, Malaysia. And he says, Malaya ja anaya yaya nila chala haite anya haite nahe tumi chala tvarite. So he says, you will find that Malaya chandan in Nilachal, in Jagannath Puri, you get from there. And he says, tumi chalaha tvarite. So you only go, don't delegate this. I want you only to do it. Right? This could ideally have been delegated. But no, Lord says, I want you. Now, Lord Chaitanya, talking to his associate, he says, can you imagine what kind of surrender this person, this devotee had? Lord Chaitanya says, Bhoke rahe tabu anna magi na khaya, hena jana chandan bhara vahi laya yaya. He says, this person, even if he is hungry to death, he will not go and ask anyone. He is not going to beg anyone even if he is starving to death. But for the Lord, for Gopalji, he is ready to go thousands of kilometers to go to Jagannath Puri and beg for alms for Chandan. So this is the 5th challenge, from having a yachata vritti, to have a vow never to ask anyone, to becoming a yachak. So a yachata vritti means I am completely dependent on the Lord. Complete dependence on the Lord. And now he has been put in a position where he is begging for the Lord. From a position of dependence on the Lord, he is in a position of begging for the Lord. Right? He has given up his ayachita vritti. No, I will go and beg shamelessly. Right? So Lord Chaitanya, he is appreciating that quality. And then now he is on his way to Jagannath Puri, and then again, the circles back, Lord Chaitanya is talking about Remuna and this Amrit Keli. So the whole story was triggered from this Amrit Keli. So he says, Madhavpuri, he came to Remuna and he took darshan of Gopinath and Nritya Geeta Kari Jagamohana Vasila Kya Kya Bhog Lage Brahmane Puchila. So he comes and asks the Brahmana, oh, what all the delicacies are offered here? I see a lot of items being offered. Now he is a person who never even thinks, what I am going to eat, whatever Krishna sends, right? But now, okay, what are the various foods offered? From being a niswada to becoming a suswada, means a connoisseur of taste. From being callous to all taste, he has become a connoisseur of taste. What is the best delicacy? I should offer it to Krishna. Now someone who has been who is reputation for fasting for Nirjal Ekadashi, every Ekadashi has Nirjal. If that person goes around and asks, "Arey kuch Mahaprasad hai kya? Kuch Mahaprasad de do," to bole, "Kya ho gaya, Prabhuji? What happened to your vow?" Right? So he's not afraid of that. No, he's asking the pujari, and then he comes to know that a very special sheer is offered, Amrit Keli. Gopinath hera sheer bali prasiddha namayar prithvi te aiche boga kaha nahi yaar. So there is this special Amrit Keli in the entire universe. There is no such delicacy, a nectarian delicacy which is offered, and it is offered here. And in his mind, the desire comes, oh, if only I could offer to my Gopal. So if I get to taste a little bit of it, I'll know the recipe. And then I'll make for my Gopal. And while he's thinking like this, the offering is happening, and he suddenly thinks that Ei ichhai lajja paya Vishnu smaran kaila hena kale bhogasari arati bajila. So he thinking that, oh, I have made an offense. That while the offering is happening, I am thinking of eating that. So many times okay, what is in menu today? Right? We start from that. But what is the standard of Madhavendra Puri? No, if it is being offered to the Lord or it is being prepared for the Lord, I am not supposed to think about it, right? So this is the standard. So he then goes away from that place that no, I have made an aparadh. So he leaves that place and then he walks into the marketplace and in atonement is chanting the holy names incessantly. And in the background, what happens? Gopinath, as we saw, Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Vrajendranand. He observes, oh, my devotee desires, how can I not fulfill? So then he steals a pot of, as he knows as Makhan Chor, so he wants to be known as Sheer Chor. So he steals a pot of kheer to be offered to Gopal, to Madhavendra Puri. So the pujari of Gopinath, he closes the door, the altar, and then he goes to take rest. And in his dream, the Lord appears. Shiralaha e yara nama Madhavpuri, Tomalagi Gopinatha Shira Kaila Churi. So he is told by Gopinath that there's a particular mendicant who had come. I have stolen this pot of sheer, sweet rice. Unknown to you, it is hidden behind the curtain. I have hidden it behind the curtain very, very expertly so you could not see. So you get that sweet rice and then go and find this Madhavpuri. So he goes to the marketplace and searches around asking, where is Madhavpuri, where is Madhavpuri? And when Madhavendra Puri, he heard this, Eta Shuni Puri Gosai Parichay Dila Shira Diya Pujari Tare Dandavata Hela. So the Pujari, he with great reverence offered him obeisance. So you are the person for whom the Lord stole this sweet rice. He didn't become, okay, what is it? Krishna never stole. I am serving for, decades and Krishna is not stealing for me. He didn't become envious. He offered pranams to Madhavpuri. And then Srila Madhavendra Puri, in seclusion, he relished that Amrit Keli, because this Amrit Keli is not just about the taste of the, rice and the milk and the sugar. It is about a taste of the devotion of the devotees for the Lord and the love of the Lord for his devotees. So this nectar is what Madhavendra Puri Pad was relishing, and this is the nectar which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to relish. Because in that sweet rice, he could taste the devotion of Madhavendra Puri Pad for Gopalji and Gopinath. And then Madhavendra Puri Pad realizes now people are going to talk about it. This is going to become a viral post on Instagram. Everyone is going to know that Thakur More Shira Dila Loka Sabha Shuni Dine Loka Bhida Habe Mora Pratishta Jani. And then so many people will come and surround me saying that, oh, give us blessings, oh, Babaji. So he says, let me just go from here. Pratishtha Are Bahe Puri Gela Palayan Krishna Preme Pratishtha Chale Sange Gadaiyan. So he leaves from that place, but the Pratishtha is following behind him. Wherever he is going, already people know, without social media, that see, this is the one for whom Krishna has stolen sweet rice. So, this is the challenge of from being ekanta to Pratishtha, from having privacy to popularity. Now, Madhavendra Puri, he didn't want popularity, but Krishna chose, I want to make you famous, right? And no one can stop this, right? So Krishna desires to make him famous, and then he surrenders, because when he goes to Jagannath Puri, he realizes no one is going to listen to a mendicant. So anyways, people know, oh, this is the person for whom Krishna stole. So he says, of course, yes, I am the person, but I want Chandan for Gopal, Karpur for Gopal, can you provide it? So he used that popularity, he accepted that popularity for the service of Krishna, for the service of Gopal. And so again, a paradigm shift in his life, from ekanta to pratishtha, from privacy to popularity. And then the last challenge comes. He's offered all of that chandan, everyone, Jagannath Pujaris, they understand, the government officials understand, they give him logs of chandan, 42 kgs of chandan are given to him with camphor and everything, and men to carry it, and then government release papers for tolls, and then money to give on tolls, everything is given, and he moves from there, and he's on his way back, comes to Remuna. Now while he's coming to Remuna, Gopalji is thinking, why did I send him there? Right? He's going to go through so much struggle and challenges, because there are so many Mohammedan rulers on the way, they will trouble him, there are so many tolls. So I don't want my devotee to go through all of this. So he again comes in his dream. He says, Gopal again comes in his dream in Remuna and tells Madhavendra Puri, Karpura sahita ghasi esa ba chandan gopinathera ange nitya karahalepan. So you stay back in Remuna, and whatever chandan with lot of endeavor and painstaking labor you have got for me after months of endeavor, you don't need to bring it to me. Just stay there, get that chandan grinded and offer it to Gopinath. Gopinath amara se ekya angahaya iha ke chandana dile habe mora tapakshay. You offer it to Gopinath, I'll become cool. Right? So Gopalji is saying, you offer to Gopinath, I'll become cool. Dvidhana bhavi hana kariha kichu mane vishwasa kari chandana deha amara vachane. So he says, don't doubt me. Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Vrajendra. He says, I am the same person. If you offer him, I am going to accept it. So the A's challenge of serving Krishna, serving my way or serving Krishna's way. Right? He wanted to serve and he overcame all obstacles in service of the Lord. But then the final was Krishna wanted to check, are you going to serve your way or my way? My way is inconceivable. You serve here. So here in our temple, we offer chandan to Gopalji and Gopinathji is cool. Right? But there, Gopinathji was offered chandan and Gopalji felt cool. Right? So if the Lord wanted to be cool, he would have just told, he could have just told Madhavendra Puri that, okay, the chandan is offered in Jagannath Puri, right, to Jagannath. Jagannath and Gopal and Gopinath, they are one and the same. So if the chandan is offered to Jagannath, Gopalji can technically feel, cool about, all the heat. So, but no, he wanted to bring out the great devotional qualities of Madhavendra Puri, and for that, he, made him go through all of this, journey. So Krishna is not interested in the result of the service. Prahlad Maharaj says that that Lord is not interested in the result of the service. He is interested in accepting our devotion and making us come closer to him. Right? So he is not interested in the result. He is interested in you and me. Right? So Madhavendra Puri Pad, he overcomes all of these 8 challenges that come on his way, from being a Mauni to a Milansar, a solitary sage to a sociable person, right? From being Udasin to Udyami, from being indifferent to industrious, working very hard, organizing things, from being Virakt to Vyavaharik, from being renounced to resourceful and relatable to people, from being Parivrajikacharya to Kshetra Sannyasi, a traveling mendicant becomes a temple resident, right? Schedules everything. Ayacha Vritti to Yachaka, from depending on God to begging for God, from Niswadu to Suswadu, from being callous to taste, he becomes connoisseur of taste, from Ekanta to Pratishtha, from privacy, he exposes himself to popularity for the service of the Lord, and finally, he overcomes the last challenge of serving Krishna's way, not my way. Jaya Shri Madhav Puri Krishna Prema Pura Bhakti Kalpaturu Te Ho Prathama Ankura. So Kaviraj Goswami describes that this Srila Madhavendra Puri is the Prathama Ankur, the first sprout of love of Godhead in the mood of the gopis of Vrindavan came through Srila Madhavendra Puri. Before Madhavendra Puri Pad, in Madhva Sampradaya, only Krishna alone was worshipped. But Srila Madhavendra Puri introduced the worship of Krishna with Srimati Radharani in the feelings of separation from Krishna, and he recites this verse, Ai Deena Dayadra Nath He Mathura Nath Kadhavalokya Se. So this beautiful verse, Hridayam Tvad Aloka Kataram Daita Brahmeti Kim Karomi Aham. So in conclusion, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Nityananda Prabhu and all the associates that this verse that he chanted, this is the ankur of love of Godhead. Ghasite ghasite yaiche malaya jasar gandhe bade taiche e shloke ravichar. So he says the more you contemplate on this verse which Madhavendra Puri Pad was chanting while leaving his body, disappearance day, that is today, he was chanting this verse in the mood of Radharani in separation from Krishna. Ai Deena Dayadra, O Lord of the wretched fallen, O Mathura Nath, I am not able to get your shelter, get your mercy, get your association. And my heart is just hankering for this, and then I'm just getting bewildered by your love. So this is the verse he was chanting while departing, and Lord Chaitanya says, just as when chandan is grinded, you get aroma. So similarly, if you contemplate more on the mood of devotional service of Madhavendra Puri, our appreciation for bhakti and our attachment to the Lord will increase. And so here, in conclusion, what Lord Chaitanya is doing is, when he's taking darshan of Gopinathji, he remembers, he reminisces the sacrifices, the surrender and the devotional service of his Param Guru, Srila Madhavendra Puri. And he says, Ishwar Puripad, my Gurudev told this story to me. Right? So for all of us, he's leaving a prototype for us. When we come in front of the Lordships to take darshan, concomitant with that should be the remembrance of the unlimited sacrifices of our Guru Parampara, especially our Param Guru, His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Srila Prabhupada was sitting in a solitary in his place in Vrindavan, chanting his bhajan, writing the Srimad Bhagavatam, but then Krishna took him out from that comfortable place. He left his home, Vrindavan, to give everyone a home in which the whole world can live. Right? So when we come in front of Shri Radha Gopinath, or especially Shri Radha Ras Bihari, right, we can remember the sacrifices and the quality of devotional service of Srila Prabhupada. Right? And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us, that taking darshan doesn't mean just taking darshan of the beauty of the Lord, taking darshan of the beauty of the love between the Lord and his pure devotees. And when we take darshan of Radha Ras Bihari, we can remember the unlimited, untold sacrifices which Prabhupada made to get the Juhu land. And he told Radha Ras Bihari, you just sit tight here, I'll build your temple. Right? So this is the grit and the determination and the resilience of a devotee, which the same grit which the Vrajavasis showed 5,000 years ago to weather the challenges and weather the storms and thunderstorms of Indra. The same grit and resilience was shown by Madhavendra Puripad 500 or so years ago. And the same grit Srila Prabhupada showed, the same quality of devotion and surrender Srila Prabhupada showed 50 years ago. And this is our parampara, where we are receiving this mode of exclusive dedication and surrender to the will of the Lord, overcoming all the challenges, breaking all the paradigms and stereotypes that we may have to surrender to Krishna. So we pray today to Srila Madhavendra Puri and Sri Gopalji that we develop a fraction of that grit and that quality of devotion, so that we are not moved, our faith is not shaken in midst of all the upheaval that anyways are going to come in our lives, but we stay firm at the lotus feet of the Lords and their service. Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Madhavendra Puripad ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.